Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for more mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Welcome to Miguel and Holly Uncensored. It is our uncensored podcast that we do 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I will tell you, though, we will not have a podcast on Friday.
No.
I will not be here. So in full transparency, for Kelvin's microphone just died. What happened?
Did it just do one of those things?
It.
You
unscrewed
it. It just went like a limp.
It did.
It just said, boo.
Never happens to me.
Oh. It happens to everyone sometimes. Okay.
Not to me.
Wait till you get to be 40.
I know, I was going to say not yet.
Not yet. Just wait.
I feel like that'll be the saddest day is when I'm like, and then it's like, nope. Need a little help. Need a little assistance.
Jesus.
I'm not ready for that day. I'm not ready. Like okay, ready for TMI?
We are not even 2 minutes into this podcast.
Give me the 2. You were about to say why you were going to be here Friday too.
I know.
Listen,
this is why we don't have nice things, because we are this way.
But you know what? This is why when you hear the radio show, sometimes when we start a segment, and this is a critique that I have gotten as a host, is that I sound too robotic when we start a segment, that I don't sound conversational. And what I want to say every time is that I would take us in so many different random spaces if I didn't just get right into it. When they're like, well, you know, be more fun. I'm like, when I'm fun, I'm starting to think about my other stuff that we can't talk about on the radio. Like, I've got to go right into it. That's why I'm always like, okay, I'll try.
It's just difficult because we get conversational and then this happens.
Right. And then they're like, get to the point. And then I'm like,
where's the meat and potatoes?
They're asking for the impossible. And by the way, these same people cannot get to one point in a 30-minute phone call to save their lives. Same people. Same.
Well, you know what? That's always my favorite thing when we do morning show boot camp, which is next week, which the podcast will be altered next week too, because we'll be in Dallas.
God, it's next week already.
Yeah, for the second half of the week. But we'll get up, you know, or we'll be in a session where they'll have some consultant, you know, giving a speech about, you know, get to the point.
Attention spans are shorter than they've ever been.
They're 7 seconds.
6 or 7 seconds to grab the listener before they tune into TikTok or whatever else.
And then they proceed to just miss the point for another 30 minutes. And there have been so many sessions at Morning Show Boot Camp with these people that aren't actual talent that get up on the stage and talk that us as talent are like, are you fucking kidding me? You get paid thousands of dollars to tell us to shut the fuck up, but you can't.
Like, lead by example, my man.
It is like there have been, and like especially the ones that have been really like whenever they have executives up there.
Oh, that's the worst.
Get me started on that, because there's someone in particular who's on a panel talking about, let's just say, money.
Okay.
And was my boss's boss at the time. And it's just ironic. And I want to be their front fucking row and ask him like a question, but I'm like, no, never mind.
Nah.
I'm not going to do that because it's not a good look, but I fucking want to so bad. So yeah, sorry to interrupt.
No, don't do it. Don't be the one. Like, you know how that thing, the saying goes back when Twitter used to be Twitter, which was last week, where it's like every day there's a new main character on Twitter. And your goal is to not be the main character. Right. Because it's usually never good. Same goes with Morning Show Boot Camp. Like usually every year there's one main character of boot camp and your goal is not to be the main character, like in the bad way. Like there's a lot of shining stars that have that are the main character in good ways. There's multiple. There's usually one person that's the bad star.
But you know what's interesting is that Anne Marie just said, do you explain what you mean by boot camp? I know you all have gone before, but why is it called boot camp? There's really, I think it's just a name they called it, you know, back. It's been around for almost 30 years now.
It was like a more casual term than come to this morning show radio conference seminar.
Right.
Because that kind of sounds like we're pharmaceutical sales reps.
Right.
It's a bunch of radio personalities. So instead of calling it a conference or a seminar, they called it boot camp. Because for a while it was kind of cool to call things boot camps.
Yeah.
Like meaning like boot camp, meaning like this is your entry into like the army would have a boot camp. Like you go
an
there to be prepared.
intensive where you're
An
there for
intensive
6
course.
hours. And that's what happens. You have a bunch of sessions where people are talking about different aspects of what we do. Holly and I are actually leading one of the sessions, which is wild to me. Because I feel like it was just yesterday that we were like, we're new here around these parts, and now we're like leading a whole session. So that's like crazy within itself. But but you have so many people that get up and speak that don't do mornings that then try to talk to you about it, which, you have coaches in sports leagues that do that.
Yes, because they're not playing, but they're coaching because they know the game.
Right. But like lead by example. So like if you're telling me it is because like sometimes the people don't realize what they're asking you to do as like a creative person, and they're like, do it in 7 seconds, be casual with it, don't be too robotic, but then get to the point and do it in 7 seconds.
Nobody wants to hear about your personal stuff, but they also do want to connect with your personal stuff. Like everything is just a contradiction, but you're somehow supposed to like make sense of it. And the reason I say this, like I love our consultants, and especially the ones we have now, like and I really love a lot of the people that do this, but it's funny because it's like you realize what you're doing, like it's not
right.
It's
and contradictory.
Right. And let me clarify too. I say it's not the consultants that do it, because usually since they talk one-on-one with talent, they know, how we are. Like if you're telling me to shut up and get to the point in 7 seconds and then you ramble, it's usually the executives from radio companies that get up there. And there was this one, and I'm not even going to say what company he's from.
No, don't.
But you could feel the 60, 70 people in the conference room cringe as this man could not get to a point, and he was stumbling over his words, and everyone was like, how do you get paid probably $500,000 to tell people how to communicate and you can't?
It's just awkward and funny. So I didn't mean to like throw shade at I did, but like in a funny way, like not in a I'm coming at you with anger and vitriol. Like it's just part of the job. Like it just makes part of your job. And thank you, Zenda, for saying it's awesome that your talent is being recognized. I don't know. I sort of feel like I'm finally in a spot, Miguel. I don't know if it's this way for you. I'm finally sort of in a spot where I don't feel like the young new kid anymore. Like, yes, it is still weird that like we're leading a panel, but I also feel like it was so long ago that we sat in one of these conference rooms with our notebooks and feverishly wrote down like ideas and concepts and whatever. I feel like that was so long ago. Doesn't seem like it sometimes, but it kind of was. And I do feel like, oh my gosh, like I do have something to contribute. At the same time, I also feel like it's a weird thing, because for as long as we've been doing this, I still don't feel like I'm like, oh, look at us, we're big time. Like, do we have the experience? Yes, we've been doing this for 15 years now. Like, yes, I feel like we have paid some dues, but I also don't feel like that we are like seen as the big people.
Right. There's a difference.
Are the big people. Like we're just sort of like in the middle somewhere.
Well, I feel like
I mean, you've done a lot more than some of the morning shows I've seen.
Well,
that's no shade.
No, right.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like if for you non-radio people, like this is gonna fly over your head, but just so I'll try to throw out some national names that you may know. So I feel like when we started going to these things, you had locally like Ace and TJ, who we compete against, who we replaced here at this station,
who taught us like so much on our first year.
Right.
Like they hosted it here in Charlotte.
Yeah. So, but they were at our age when we started, but like above them, you had these legendary morning shows like Jeff and Jair in San Diego, who led it, who were where Ace and TJ are now. So it's like the baton continues to pass, where it's like we're not at their level yet, where we're syndicated and we've made all this money. Like we are nowhere near that. But we also can say, hey, we somewhat know what we're doing. Like we're still learning and still
Right.
growing and everything.
Always willing to learn because we don't
100%.
have all the answers, but also willing to say, hey, we've been around the block a minute for a couple of times here, and we have some ideas about what works and what doesn't work.
Right. 100%. And so, yeah, I agree with you that like I do feel like, okay, yeah, I've been here for a minute and I'm not as scared as I used to be for the like conference part of it. I still get nervous in the social part of it. Just because that's
Which
just
is weird.
me.
You never seem nervous in the social
Oh my
part of it.
God.
You are over here with your cocktail, like just social butterflying it up, knowing
The Miguel
everyone's
laugh.
name. Yes. Like that. Throwing the head back.
Yes.
Be like, oh, Frank. Oh, Susan.
Yes, bitch. Oh my
How's
God.
little Timmy and little Isabel?
Yes.
I'm like,
Always.
unless I have been in a room with someone and sat next to them for hours. I don't know.
And
I'm
then
friends with
it's
these people
me.
on Facebook. And
Right.
then
Me
Kelvin
with
comes.
my arm around his arm like this, just like, hey, I work with him too.
Well,
Miguel's good at the social stuff, but I guess you get nervous too.
Oh, like going into it, because imagine it. Like when you walk into the hotel in Dallas next week, and we've been in Chicago the past few years, the hotel lobby is where the networking goes down. Like you're in the sessions where you learn, but the networking and the true stuff, I feel like that you take away with you home to your show. And also too, it's just a good way for people who do what you do to just commiserate, and you truly feel like, okay, it's not just our little show going through all the pains we go through. It's universal, from the biggest show in the room to the smallest show in the room. We're all going through the same stuff. And so that's where you get to like, I feel like you get juiced back up for the next year in the hotel lobby. But it's always sort of intimidating when you walk into the hotel the first time, because everyone's like looking and you're like, well, do people remember who I am? Will I remember their names? Do I just pop into a conversation that's already happening? Do they want me there? And so all these questions are going through. And then it's like, once you get over that first hump, it's like, okay, cool, we're here. Like, let's go. But I'm always like in the Uber ride to the hotel. And then like sometimes when we get to go check in, I'll purposely not look at the hotel bar because I'm like, I'm not ready yet. I need like one or two drinks just to get myself into the mood.
Well, especially you've been traveling all day. You roll up in the hotel looking just like a sack of craziness.
Yes.
And then there's people that are like, oh, hey. And you're like, please not. I'm not ready yet. I'm not prepared to have this this small talk banter such.
100. So yeah, we'll talk more about it on Monday's podcast. But yes, we will have a podcast today. We won't have one on Friday. We'll have one on Monday, and then that'll be it for the next 2 weeks. And then we'll be back on our regularly scheduled podcasting on the week of the 14th. So just FYI, so you're not like, we're not leaving you hanging.
Wait, you said we're doing one next Wednesday or not next Wednesday?
No, on Monday.
Just Monday.
Wait. Oh yeah, we'll do one Wednesday because we'll be here.
Do one Wednesday. Although my flight is at 2:40, so we got to make it quick.
We'll make it quick. So on Wednesday the 9th, we will do a podcast.
Yeah.
Wait,
Kelvin,
are we ever going to get the TMI story that you did in the first minute of this podcast?
Yes, I have a whole preamble I didn't even get through.
Okay.
So the TMI story I was saying is something about getting older.
Yes, because you're like, watch me get older, and then
we were talking about the being able to keep it up or whatever, and I was just like, oh, that's when I will feel like I'm old, when I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I've already started to see some gray hairs where I wasn't expecting to see gray hairs for a long time.
What? I didn't think about that.
I was like, do I tweet about it? Do I do an Instagram story? And then I was just like, you know what? This is one of those moments, the few moments in my adult life that I'm like, I'm not going to tell a story about this.
Yeah, that doesn't need a story.
No.
Well, we did just get the story actually. So
you did, but just know that like that was very it was actually when I was getting ready for the cruise and just, swoop, just, manscaping everywhere. And then I was just like, shh. No, we're here.
There you are.
So that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
So
a good story.
Well, I'm glad you got that off.
There you go.
Your Chess.
Got it. Okay. And then also too, we won't be here Friday because I will be in Atlanta because of my friend's funeral. We are leaving after Thursday's show, which we will have. You will have new content on Friday. So if you listen live, there will be new content on Friday. But I will not be here. I will be in Atlanta. We are going to the viewing Thursday evening when we get to Atlanta, and then they have another viewing Friday morning, and then the funeral is at 2. So actually today is the day that I'm going to start working on the speech that they've asked me to give. I sort of have like an outline that I've been working out in my head, and like a formula, not a formula, but like just a way, a layout. Thank you. A layout of how I want to present it. Cause I'm a big person that like when I do a speech like this, even when I gave a speech at my high school graduation, I like to like do it in a way where you can at least take away like one thing, where it's not just like words of like, we miss you and you're a great person, but like actual stories. And so I think I'm going to set it up in a way of like, I'm going to think of 3 words to describe him. And then I want to do stories for each one of those. Just so people can like, because if you knew him, if you knew his funny side, if you knew his very like strong-minded justice side, or his like no nonsense side, like everybody has one of those stories with Brandon. And so I'm trying to just think of how to craft it and put it together. So I sort of have the outline, but I'll be working on that today. But that's why we won't be here on Friday's show. Before we get to what we're going to talk about, I do want to give a shout out to a review, which we should have done this 16 minutes ago.
Oh boy. No, you know what? That's better. We didn't. Just it was a mess 16 minutes ago.
It was. This is a review as we're on our way to get to 500 reviews on Apple Podcasts. We're at 477. So I think by the end of the year we can get there.
Yeah.
This is from Kelsey Vore, a podcast I'm always looking forward to. I'm a Florida Platypus Posse member and have followed Miguel and Holly for a few years. Listening to the podcast has become one of my favorite parts of the day. I truly just enjoy listening to Miguel, Holly, and Kelvin talk about their lives, experiences they've had, and any advice they can give. I feel like they are friends that I've had for years. It truly is a Miguel and Holly fam.
I love that. It never fails to blow me away. Thinking that this family that we've created is just so cool. And oftentimes I don't think about it because I'm just in my own head, in my own life, going like, oh my God, this is such a hard situation. It's such a hard day. Like, I need to remember more that there's like a whole ass community. I think it would be good to know for all of us. You know what I mean?
I think that's the one thing that radio people want so badly is like, you're listening. And like, that's just constantly what you feel with these reviews. They're just so sweet.
Yeah.
So thank you. I wanted to go over some of the responses that we've gotten from the Ask Us Anything that we just had. Okay. So every Tuesday on the Miguel and Holly, every Tuesday on the Miguel and Holly Instagram, we ask you to just ask us anything. And then throughout the day or the next day, we record our responses on there. But I felt like today'd be a good day to just sort of go over these together.
Okay.
When is Miguel and Abe buying a crib? We are not. We have decided to hold off on buying a house. We were going to this year, but we decided to wait. So we're going to rent a little bit more, but we're not renting where we currently live because it's too expensive. It's too much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you are living
an extra key and I will use your amenities.
Yeah,
I will give you your money's worth.
A lot of things would have to happen for me to truly feel like I got my money's worth living here. Okay.
Oh, that's right.
No, the first 2 years now have been great. We live in Uptown, which is like the downtown area. So we have a beautiful view, and that's exactly what I always wanted, is to live in a downtown area where we can scoot or walk to places. Like, what's to me one of the coolest things, and I feel like this will be a good sort of end point to our time of living downtown, is for the Beyonce show next week here, I get to walk to the stadium.
So cool.
I get to walk like that. To me, like, that'll never happen again.
Right.
But like, to me, that is why we moved to where we are, but I don't want to pay that money anymore.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Get it.
I'm sure it's a lot.
Yeah.
Like athletes live in that building.
Yeah, like the Hornets, the Charlotte Hornets
players.
Yeah, they live there.
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor. Remember that when I saw him
Yes.
just randomly in the lobby? Like, what the
Damn.
All right. When is Kelvin getting married?
And I responded and I said, how do you know I'm not already? I'm not.
Because
but
why would you continue to call your partner your fiance?
facts. No, we so funny enough, and I don't know if he'll be mad if I share this or not, but I guess I'll find out later.
Mad. Who's mad? Us?
No, fiance, Oscar. I wanted us to get officially married August 10th, because that is going to be our 5-year anniversary. And so I feel like I told him, I was like, I don't want to add more important dates. I want it to be on that day. I think it'll be perfect. It'll be special. But I will be flying out that day to morning show boot camp. So we're still deciding on the date. And that's basically where we're at right now.
So is that the plan, is to just get legally married and then do a ceremony later?
We have 2 routes that we want to do. So there's like this really cool company that does like mini weddings, or like they call them elope packages. And so we really liked what they were doing. And so we were thinking about going that route, or possibly doing like a courthouse wedding. It's still up in the air. We're still deciding. We're in the middle of like, he's changing his career. He's finally going up to a headquarter job. And we're also moving, and just everything has just been on the back burner, and it's just been so stressful. Like, I've been twitching for the past week. So it's just been pretty stressful, but it's on the list of things to do.
Before we get to the next question, because when you watch, we try to do as you wish. Anne Marie said, "Can you do a shout out to my mom? It's her birthday. I want to see if she reacts when she hears happy birthday, Marlene."
Happy birthday, Marlene.
Marlene.
Happy birthday, Marlene. How many margaritas you gonna get, girl? And what you gonna do?
Wow.
Here's the next question. Holly,
Hey.
do you like the Queen City better than Tampa? What do you like more or less here?
I actually got this question from a girl that gave me a blowout when I was in Charlotte last.
Did not know where that was going.
Because y'all have the dirtiest minds.
I was like,
That's why.
What did you get from a girl here?
Yes,
Whoa!
like if anything even close to that even happened, I would just say it like that in this setting, because that's what I would say. Anyway,
10 years old.
no, this. Anyway, she did my hair. So anyway, she asked me too about like, well, what's better? Is Charlotte or Tampa better? And I think that people that live actually in either city want to know what's better. And then they sit on the edge of their seat and be like, you better say my city is better. And the truth is that I don't think you can't really compare them, which sounds like a cop-out. I understand that. And this is what I'll say. I'm a St. Pete girl, first and foremost. So if I'm actually comparing the city of Tampa proper to the city of Charlotte proper, I like Charlotte better because I don't spend any time in Tampa proper. I don't go there. In fact, my actual hairdresser in Tampa moved recently to a new salon, and I had to drive down by Amalie Arena to get to her. And I was like, what the hell is this? There were apartment complexes and different like routes and streets and shit. And I was like, I clearly haven't been in Tampa for a hot second. I probably hadn't been there since pre-pandemic. I was like, literally, what is this? And where's that little bar that used to be across from Amalie Arena?
That's been gone for a long time.
So you can see I haven't been to Tampa for a while. Like, I just don't go to Tampa. I don't have any business in Tampa. I don't really have any reason to go. So if I'm comparing simply Tampa to Charlotte, I don't know enough about the city of Tampa to say that it's my fave thing. So I'm going to say Charlotte because I've actually spent time in Charlotte, actually the city, and I love it. I love scooting around, and I love the walkability of it, which I know that we have Riverwalk in Tampa. I was there when the Super Bowl was in Tampa, and that was cool. But that's it. So, but I love my St. Pete. I love St. Pete. Like, I have a love affair with this city. It's like, I never knew you could love a city like this. I just love it. Like, the vibe is my vibe. And I live so close to downtown, and I just feel like I know it and I get it. Like, I get lost driving frequently, and I use my GPS no matter if I'm going down the street or like to Tampa or just to St. Pete. I use my Apple Maps because I don't know where I'm going. But if you were to plunk me down in St. Pete and go find your way out, I could. So I feel really like accomplished about that. It's just a small thing for me, but I could find my way out. And so other than that though, so I love St. Pete. I do love Charlotte. I can't compare that. Like, Charlotte feels very new. Okay. Charlotte feels like it is a city full of rebirth possibility. Everything feels really clean to me. Manicured, I think, is the word I would choose to use. Charlotte feels very manicured. And that's not how St. Pete is. Like, St. Pete is also like there's a lot of growth, but yeah, there's some like dirty underbelly stuff that you also love, because it's like, you know, your old Grandpa Joe or whatever.
Meet me at Kissing Cousins.
Right. So I like some of the hominess that I feel in St. Pete, and I like obviously it's like it's growing. It really is. There's new restaurants popping up all the time and new activities and things. So there is still that feel of newness, but it's more so very laid back, very chill. The parks are like, hey, we got this sprawling tree, and if you don't like where the roots are, too damn bad, but it's here and it's pretty. But Charlotte's like, we've made sure the roots are covered, and it's the lawn is exactly a 1/4 inch tall, and like, so it's very pretty. But both of them are so pretty in different ways. So that's my thoughts.
I agree with that. It's two different. Like, when I was there for Pride and I hadn't been there. Well, no, I take that back. When I was there for Taylor Swift, because I got to drive around a little bit more, compared to Charlotte, it's so different.
It's hard,
and it's just
like, I know people want you to be like, which one? You better say one, but you're copping out.
So I mean, because like, if you were to plunk me down in St. Pete and I'd never been, like, if I hadn't been to Charlotte or St. Pete, either for, and I visited both for the first time.
Yeah.
My sensibilities would probably like Charlotte a little bit more, because I like that newness factor, as opposed to the grit.
Very much that way.
I love like the newness of it, but then also, pulling back to like reality, St. Pete like feels like home to me too. Like you said, like, you could put me down somewhere and I could still figure out, how to get to where I need to be. Whereas also Charlotte, though, because it's a big city, but it's like a small big city, I can get around easily. And like, it may take me a little bit longer, but I can still kind of find my way out. And I'm now starting to, being here a year and a half, to see the different characteristics of the different neighborhoods that are like right here. Like, I still don't know the outer suburbs. Like, I couldn't tell you the difference and like what's the big attraction in Lincolnton compared to like Gastonia or Hickory,
right.
But like, when it comes to like Noda or Dilworth or Elizabeth or the Midtown area here in Charlotte, I could like sort of start to distinguish the different places and whatnot.
Yeah, I get that. I split my time, but obviously, Miguel, you living there all the time have that, as it's been a year and a half, so you feel that. I still don't know. I still don't feel the things, but I do.
You have to Uber everywhere when you're here. It's different.
Yeah, it is different, and you're not. And I do try to walk around, and I always try to rent a scooter and get around to different places. But there's only so much you can do with the time that you're there. So it's just taking me longer. That's all.
Any new features or segments or changes to the show on the horizon? That is a constant yes. That will never be a no. That is always a yes. We are always changing. And I feel like, especially now with how the world is changing, and how when we started our show, as the Miguel and Holly show in 2015, as compared to now, like, things are so different. Like, I was just looking through, for videos of my friend Brandon, who passed. And so I was going through old videos from like 2015 when we first started. And like, it's just like a whole different world when we started then compared to now. So it's always changing. It's always going to be different. And even more so, the changes are going to speed up because we also work for a company that believes in research and sharing their research with their talent. And so we can know what the majority of people are like. Now, for some of you that are Platypus Posse fan members that are like, I love fill in the blank, it's not going to be like it used to be where we didn't have research. And I was just like, well, people are still responding, so we'll keep doing it because I don't know. But
right,
now we know.
No idea. No one ever told us nothing about any of that. Like, we can't tell. But like now we can see in like, not real time, but in the same vicinity of when we're doing things. Oh, you know what? People actually don't like this that much.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the loudest people, of course, are going to tell you whether they like it or don't like it. But like the silent majority, you get those numbers back and you're like, wow, okay, well, why are we doing this anymore if everyone is either disliking it or feels completely meh about it?
Right.
Like, meh isn't bad, but it's certainly not good.
Mm-hmm. Do you, Miguel and Holly, regret leaving Tampa? We miss y'all. I thought a lot about that question yesterday, and I started to answer, and then dinner was being served, so the post went away of what I was starting to answer. But what I was starting to answer with, on this Q&A was, are there days where it's like not a great day, where like maybe we didn't get a lot of phone calls or interaction, and you go, holy crap, did we just blow up our careers? But then I go, wait a minute. We had days like that, even in like the last 6 months in Tampa, where we throw out a topic and you listening who, live in the area wouldn't participate. And we'd be like, well, damn, maybe we do need to leave. So it's like, yes, you have those bad days because it's a job. And there are just days where you're not feeling it. And you're like, I wonder if they're feeling us. But overall, do I regret? No, because that's in that moment when we had to make that decision, it felt like and continues to feel like that was the right decision to make. Is it easy? Absolutely not. Did we know it was going to be easy, or do we know it was going to be hard? Yes, we knew it was going to be hard, but you just never know, and you don't remember until you're back in it.
And you don't know, like, oh man, I was just talking to my fiance about this, where it's like, okay, did we know XYZ was going to be hard? Like, we earlier in the year, I was like comparing it to the end game. I was like, we have a lot of stuff. And like at the beginning of the year, even prior to my mom dying, I'm like, we are in the end game. And I was like, the end game is hard. Now, did I know the type of hard that it was going to be? No, like you can only assume that it's going to be difficult. But when you get into the nitty-gritty details of the day, you're like, man, I didn't sign up for this. I did not sign up for this particular thing. Like, I knew it was going to be hard, but like this thing, but you have to pull back and be like, remember you said that you knew it was going to be hard? This is just part of the hard, and it sucks when you're in it and you just keep moving forward.
And nothing is easy. I think that's one of the things that I had keep reminding myself is that I'm like, every time we or I have gotten to personal success in my life, of course you put on rose-colored glasses and you're like, oh, remember those days when we were crying and we were struggling and it was so hard? Well, you had to get to those to get to the success part.
Right.
So like in days where I'm like stressed and I'm like, oh my God, why can't I do anything right? Or my creative brain isn't working and I feel like we're sucking or I'm sucking. Well, there was lots of days like that when we were in Tampa. We were in Panama City. We were in Panama City the first time. So it's like, that's just going to happen no matter what.
Yeah, it is.
Kelvin, do you regret leaving Miami?
I think I feel the same way that you do. There are days where it fucking sucks and I miss my friends and my family and going to the beach. I think those are like my top 3 things, if anything. But I don't think I do regret it. There are pros and cons. Like when people ask you if you prefer St. Pete or Charlotte, there are pros and cons to both. And so that's kind of how I see it. But I feel like overall it's been a pro. Like I've really expanded my circle here, not only in my career, but in my friend groups. I've experienced things here that I never would have imagined in a million years that I would experience. And I feel like I've really grown as a person, and I don't think I would have grown like that in South Florida. Do I miss certain aspects of working at that old company? Sure, but it's nothing that I can't work hard and get back to. And it's nothing that I can't control, like in my own hands. So I don't regret it. I don't. I miss certain aspects, but it's nothing that a $150 flight to go and scratch the itch of the missing of memories and things like that. Like I can do something about it if I'm in that space, but I feel good about it. I feel good.
And I feel like a lot of people who have moved from a place, especially for you, your hometown, I mean, I give you so much credit for making that move, a big move like that, for, so many question marks, of like what the future was going to look like. So the fact that you have arrived there and you're only a year in, like, that's a really, really good sign.
Took a minute, but yeah, we're here.
If there was a biopic about your lives and journey, who would you want to play you? As you're answering, I'm going to pull up the picture that this is posted right now on the Miguel and Holly Instagram story.
It is. This is good. Like, I looked at this and I was like, absolutely yes. Like, absolutely yes. This, if we're going on, assuming all actors can act,
right?
Let them do their job. Then if we're going on looks, nailed it.
All right. So everyone say who your people are as I bring this up.
All right. So I'll go first.
Go for it.
Mine is Allison Williams, who you might know from the show Girls or from the movie Get Out. Was it Get Out?
Yeah.
Or I don't know. She's just in a lot of different things, right? Like what is something I'm missing?
I think Girls and Get Out are her biggest titles
ones,
to date.
but
And she's also
stuff.
Brian Williams from NBC News' daughter.
Exactly. Brian Williams' daughter, Allison Williams. And so I've had like actually several people have like really excitedly told me that they realized based on her looks and her mannerisms that we are very similar. And I'm here for it. I actually have pictures saved in my phone of Allison Williams in case I need to show anybody the thing. So anyway, yeah, that's mine.
Just the main Google search, I immediately saw. I was like, "Oh, okay." I could see like an air of it. And then I saw her blonde, and I was like, "All right, I'm choosing that photo."
Yeah, the blonde was good. I mean, I'm often blonde, but my real hair color is like brown. But like it depends on different looks. Like obviously, sometimes it's not there because, well, she's not me. But like especially like a lot of the like mid talking or whatever looks, I'm like, oh, I definitely can see it. I can see it. And if you watch anything with Allison Williams, in the back of your mind, be like, is there some Holly there? Yes, I see it.
Kelvin?
I went with Justin Long.
Like,
yeah, I don't think anybody looks like me. But then when I saw him, I was like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
I mean, and that picture you have up looks kind of like you're kind of smirking the same way, actually.
Yes. Like it is really, and he's older than you are, but it's, I mean, weirdly spot on.
Yeah. It's the only person I've seen. And so you've seen him in Jeepers Creepers. You've seen him in recently Barbarian. I'm not sure what other stuff he's been
Remember
in.
not 50 First Dates. What's the other one with Drew Barrymore? Fever Pitch?
Yes.
Fever Pitch with Drew Barrymore?
Yeah. So I was just like, he could do that. I feel like there'll be backlash though, because I don't think he's Hispanic.
Did you look? Does he have any Hispanic?
I didn't think he was Hispanic either. But like, I'm sorry, when you look like someone, you look like someone.
Right. Well,
J-Lo did Selena.
That's true.
There you go.
And she's Puerto Rican.
I mean, I can see
there could just be someone that we don't know about that's at like a perfect Kelvin, but I just can't. Now that I've seen Justin Long, I can't unsee it.
Yeah, like I feel like that fits. For me, I picked. Why are you laughing so hard, bitch? Why the fuck are you laughing so hard, Kelvin?
Because you laughed.
Why?
Because you laughed.
I picked Michael B. Jordan. Okay,
Yes,
listen.
girl, do it.
Clearly, Michael B. Jordan would have to stop working out for a little bit. He would just have to do like some pull-ups, but then he would have to just keep eating cheeseburgers for about 6 months to get a little middle section.
Who wouldn't want that role?
I mean, I'm just saying, especially so like here, he's looking very.
I think you do actually you favor each other. I think I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah, and I feel like he could pull off my way of talking because
I don't
Michael
know.
B. Jordan
I've
is a good
never seen him-
actor.
I've never seen him be goofy. Like you're goofy sometimes.
I know he was. Oh God, he was in a comedy movie. I can't remember what it's called, but he can do
Let me Google
comedy.
Okay, well, as long as he can do comedy, because obviously he'd have the serious parts down. Like
Right.
clearly,
Right.
he's a great actor. He's a great actor in a lot of action or serious movies. So like when you've got to be serious and like when you get your like Mama Oprah glasses on, he's got it. But I need to see him be like like ambient up Miguel used to be. Like I need to see that.
I would just love to see him. Like I'm assuming, the movie, if it was a biopic about the show, it would be like, our personal lives and like what led us to this moment. And so I would just love to see Michael B. Jordan like make out with like guys and stuff.
Oh, oh goodness. I need to see Michael B. Jordan. Like, but here's the problem. How do you see Michael B. Jordan as an insecure person? Because so much of your backstory is insecurity.
That's
and he needs to
acting.
have the insecurity. Yes. He could do it. I'm sure he could pull it off. He's a great actor. But that is so funny. Like, just no. The face is right. I get it.
Wait, who's gonna play Abe?
Oh. I was gonna say McSteamy, but I feel like he's too older. He's too old
no.
now.
No, yeah, no.
I don't know what young person would play Abe now.
Timothy Chalamet.
Could you imagine Michael B. Jordan? Because I always feel like that's why I don't ever post pictures of Abe and I kissing, because I feel like my head is so much bigger than his that it looks like I'm swallowing his head.
Oh, no.
And so I would just want to see Michael B. Jordan's face swallowing Timothy Chalamet's face.
Maybe it would. Or does Michael B. Jordan have a small head and we're just out of luck? I don't know.
True. Actually, let me see. How tall is Michael B. Jordan?
I don't know. We're gonna do some research.
How tall is Michael B. Jordan? Let's see. Michael B.
He's
Jordan
6
is he's 6 foot. Wow, and Abe is taller than me. But I think
No, you guys are very similar though. I mean, he's not like he doesn't tower over you.
What's Timothy Chalamet's?
Let's see how tall
Yeah,
is
I'm really
him?
on this Timothy Chalamet thing. I can't stop. Like, I kind of want that. He's
Wait.
like a
Oh, he's 5'10".
Oh.
Hold on, let's see if we can get a picture of Timothy Chalamet and Michael B.
yeah. No, I just want to see a picture of Timothy Chalamet and see if he looks like Abe.
Let's see if there's like here's a picture of them together.
Okay, yes. Yes.
Okay, I can see it. Look, they look like they about to kiss.
Stop it. If you are only listening to the podcast, by the way, I'm so sorry.
I know, right?
You need to go do some Google. Not that you're not going to.
Or
What
just
you know who just pulled up along with Timothy Chalamet? Timothy Oliphant. I love him, but he might be
How
a
do you
little
spell
tall
that?
too.
Do you spell that?
Oliphant.
I'm sorry. Olyphant. But like, I think he's too old now too. Never mind. He's too old.
Oh, dang, yeah. 10 years ago.
Oh,
10 years ago.
10
that
years
would've
ago,
been-
yes, he would have
Yes.
played. Ooh, Anne Marie said Scott Eastwood.
Who's that?
That's what's his face? Dirty Harry. I can't think of his name.
Oh, Clint Eastwood's son.
Clint Eastwood's son, yes.
Does he act?
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know who that is.
Let's see here.
Oh, is he in every movie that his dad was in? Like what? No, I'm just kidding. I just saw Gran Torino.
Okay, I could see that.
Yeah, maybe that.
Interesting. I like Timothy Chalamet.
I know.
I'm obsessed with that now. I kind of want to see that happen. Oh my gosh.
Good times.
All right. I think we only have one more question, and we got to get out of here.
Oh God, look, it's been 45 minutes already.
Let's see. Do y'all have side gigs? If so, what is your side gig? Kelvin, you have a side gig? You out there selling feet pics?
Well,
Why are you wiping the sides of your mouth?
I know. What are you
Um,
doing?
a little extra chapstick. No, I don't have a side gig. I really should. I
No
don't
reason I heard
know.
about that. No. Okay.
I don't know I don't even know how to define my own hobbies, to be quite honest. So like if I can't even define my hobbies, how can I define a side gig? I feel like I could do maybe some social media on the side. I did that back in South Florida. I was doing radio, but I was also like a social media manager for a car dealership. But it was too much. Like it was like living a double life. It was just too much. It was exhausting. So side gigs can be a little tricky when you do morning radio. But maybe I don't know. I kind of want to play around with doing photography again. I haven't played with my camera in a really long time and I really enjoyed it. So I would, if I were to pick a side gig, it would probably be photography. Yeah.
Holly?
Yeah. Not so much anymore. Like my side gig always and forever has been voice work that I do for whoever. I mean, I used to be one of the voice actors for a company called Voice Talent Now, where you could reach out. The company was like the middleman. So like if a company or a radio station or a TV station or whatever, they needed a voice actor of sorts, they could go to this Voice Talent Now middleman and choose from like 50 voice talents, and they could like play a little sample of your voices. And so you would get hired based on that. But the rate was so low, which was fine because I first started that when I was like 24, I think, as my first, and I desperately needed that side work. And the rates were really low paying for the actor. They were low for the companies, but that's how they kept it low. So it was just, I would just do whatever. And sometimes like that was decent side money. Like in the course of a year, I would make decent money. And so I would do that. I would love that job. But then it got to be that I was making a little more money. I did it for 10 years. I worked for that same company. And then that same company kept up. They never raised their rates ever. Meanwhile, in our careers, we had gotten to a different city, moved back and forth. I was like 34, 35 years old. And the demands seemed like they were getting higher and higher. And they used to give you like a 24-hour turnaround. And then it turned into like a 12-hour turnaround. And then they were like, hey, we just emailed you. Where are you? And I'm like, I do a morning show. It's 4 p.m. I'm like, what? I'm picking up my kid. Like, what are you? So I had to quit because the demand was too much. And so after that, like my voice work just fell off after that because you got to really hustle. And if you want to make a career out of voice work, you have to be the all in one. Like you got to promote yourself. You got to like sell yourself and go out and do the work of getting clients. It can be very lucrative if you are out here doing the work. And with this full-time job, obviously, I don't have time to make that a full-time job, but I like to think I'm pretty decent at it. I just never had the drive to go make that like a full-on side gig unless I was working for that company. Now, there are a couple of people that I met through that company and locally in the Tampa area too that will still contact me once in a while. So like I would say like once every 2 months, maybe once a month, I'll get someone that emails and they're like, oh, hey, I have a page of work. And I'm like, okay, $50. So I'll make like $50 a month or whatever, doing some quick side work. But it's a little something, it's a little dinner out. So I'll take it. But yeah, that's my always and forever side gig.
I haven't had one in a very long time. Like I used to work at a sunglass store, Sunsights by Solstice. I also worked at a TV station at the beginning of my career. But something that I've always wanted to do is to sort of do a like Amazon has like a little influencer thing where you can like set up a store, because people always ask me about either the food I'm making or the things that I've bought for the house. And so I've always thought about setting up a little Amazon store where I'm like, hey, I just bought these blinds, if you want to buy them. And so anytime that you buy from like you click on my
Miguel,
link,
do it. Like that's not something you have to put any I have one.
I know. I literally just I think about it and then
you forget to do it.
I forget to do it.
It takes 2 seconds. Like the hardest part I think is getting like your taxpayer ID, like social security number.
Right. All that stuff.
But like just do it, because if you're spending some time to do it, like they only pay out, by the way, if you're curious. They will actually mail you a check if you make like $100. But they'll give you like a PayPal gift card or like an Amazon credit if you get $10. I've been sitting at like I've earned $5 for like a year. Like 1 year, I've earned $5. And they keep sending me monthly emails. They're like, you still haven't made enough for us to pay you. And I'm like, I know.
You're like,
it just takes time, but you would be great at it because like for me, I feel like in my head, I'm like, I get so busy my afternoon. Like now my second job is momming. Like I go home from work and I'm on mom patrol. But like if you even have like a couple hours, Miguel, do it. You could make some money. I don't know how much, but a little bit.
Well, because I feel like especially as I've backed away from the air fryer and I'm starting to like cook again, like on the stove and the oven and whatnot, I bought some like new utensils that people have been like, ooh, how did you make that? And I'm like, oh, here's the link. And I'm like, damn it. I could have like made some money from that.
Mhm.
Oh, I send people my link all the time. Sneaky though. I don't tell them.
You're like, buy from my store.
It's like somebody asked about a book recommendation. I'm like, oh, here's the book. Holly's associate link. I can get 2 cents on that. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna bring this up next week on the air as a topic about like what's the most extreme thing you've done to get a job. But talking about making extra money, so I always feel so douchey saying this, but I have Cameo where you can request a celebrity or somebody to do a video for someone. So when we were in Tampa at the height, like I was making like decent money from that, where like my videos, I think it was like $20, and especially around like holidays or Mother's Day or something like that, people would buy the videos of me being like, hey, happy birthday, Holly. Kelvin wants to wish you a great birthday and he loves that you blah, 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 blah. And I get to have fun with it. Well, it's been dormant since we've moved. And so I got a notification for someone's birthday yesterday. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. I did the video. Immediately, I got another notification to do one, but it was like, it needs to be done in 24 hours. So I was like, this is weird. So I was reading it and it was like 2, and there were 3 names on there. Dave, Drew, and Angie. And those are bosses here.
I was gonna say that sounds an awful lot like our management team.
Right. And I was like, that's weird. Who is it from? So I'm reading it, and it's somebody who's interviewing for a sales position here at iHeart, but they listened to the show, and I guess they found me on Cameo. And so they had me do a video to be like, hey, this is Miguel. Surprise. You should hire this person's name.
Whoa!
You know what? I am not mad at that.
That is going far. What are the ethics of that, by the way?
I mean,
like, honestly, think about it. Like, you don't know this person from Adam. They're literally paying you to say good things.
Right.
And then you're going to go and they're going to play the video. And like, Angie and Drew and blah are going to be like, oh my God, well, Miguel said that this is a great person.
Well,
and then that person goes and like, murders our clients. Like, I don't know.
Well, I never said I know them. I said, clearly this is Cameo and I got a request for this person's name. And they said that they want you to hire them.
I mean, that's a good deal. That's a really hustling.
It's an investment.
It was
$20 for a job.
Seriously, like I was very like I was like, wait a minute, how do I feel about this?
Yeah,
bitch, I made $20. Let's go. Yeah,
Miguel would not turn down that money.
No,
I'm like, no one's got. I didn't want to feel bad. I'm like, I'm not doing a cameo. It's ridiculous.
Well, you can't expect people like. So the reason why I did it is because I was on HGTV's 100-Day Dream Home, and the host on there, Meek and Brian, they do Cameo, and they were like, "Oh, we've like paid for our mortgage," and they were and God love her, she loved the show, and so she was like, "Well, I love the show, so I'd pay whatever you put up," and I'm like, "Girl, you're on TV, on cable TV. We are a local morning show. I love that you think that, but I ain't paying my mortgage with that." But I bought some
nice little something.
Yeah, we had some couple dinners off of that, which was cool. So thank you to everyone who's requested me on Cameo. Which, by the way, if you'd like for me to send you a cameo, just type in Miguel Fuller.
Got it.
Plug.
All right.
He's a hustler.
All right, girl. Anyway, anytime. Good morning. My mom is here watching.
Hey, Mom.
Everyone say hello, mother. Whoop, whoop. All right, like I said, we will not be here on Friday, but we will be here on Monday and Wednesday podcast. Producer Kelvin, what's your social media?
You You can follow me on Instagram at Kelvin Live.
Holly?
Radio Holly, TikTok, X, Instagram, Threads, X. Stupid.
Mine is Miguel Fuller. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Be Real, and also on Cameo if you like for me. I'm gonna start ramping that back up. I forgot, girl. I was like, yes, I'm gonna start making some money, honey. We'll see y'all on Monday. Bye.
Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Catch it on the iHeart